It was just an ordinary day for James, strolling through the park and enjoying the fresh air when something caught his eye. There, perched on a bench, was a pigeon with a small SD card strapped to its back. Intrigued, James cautiously approached the bird and gently removed the bag from its feathered back. What could possibly be on this mysterious SD card, he wondered. As he inserted the card into his laptop, James found himself immersed in a world of intrigue and curiosity. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. He was halfway through his walk, sneakers scuffing the gravel path, when the sun caught something odd, a glint of silver, a flash of blue on the far bench under the old elm. At first, he thought it was just trash, maybe a forgotten soda can or a child's toy. But as he drew closer, he saw feathers. A pigeon, plump and gray, was perched there, oddly still. James slowed. The bird didn't move. Its head bobbed once, then fixed him with a glassy, black eye. He noticed the thing strapped to its back, a tiny black pouch, cinched tight with a twist of red string. Something about it didn't sit right. He glanced around. The park was quiet, just a woman jogging in the distance, a couple of kids chasing a soccer ball. No one seemed to care about the pigeon. James knelt down, heart thudding. The pigeon cocked its head but didn't fly away. He reached out, slow and careful, murmuring nonsense to keep it calm. His fingers brushed the pouch. The pigeon fluttered its wings but stayed put. He untied the string and slid the pouch free. It was lighter than he expected. Inside, nestled in a fold of tissue, was a small SD card. James stared at it, pulse quickening. He looked up, half expecting someone to shout, to come running, but the park was still just a park. The pigeon ruffled its feathers and, as if relieved of a burden, took off in a blur of wings. James stood there for a moment, the SD card pinched between his fingers. He felt a strange mix of excitement and unease. He slipped it into his pocket and walked home, mind racing. His apartment was quiet, save for the hum of traffic outside. James sat at his kitchen table, laptop open, SD card ready. He hesitated. Was this a mistake? What if it was nothing, or worse, what if it was something he wasn't supposed to see? He slid the card into the slot. The computer whirred. A folder popped up. Skyview. He clicked it open. There were dozens of video files. He clicked the first one. The screen filled with a dizzying view from above a bird's-eye sweep over the city. Rooftops, alleys, busy intersections. The camera dipped and soared as if it was flying. James realized, with a jolt, that it probably was. He watched, transfixed, as the footage shifted. Now the camera skimmed just above the heads of pedestrians, weaving between lampposts, darting through open windows. The city looked different from up here alive, chaotic, beautiful. Then the footage changed. The camera zoomed in on a group of men in suits, huddled in a dark alley. Their faces were blurred, but their gestures were sharp, urgent. One of them handed a thick envelope to another. The camera lingered, then moved on. James clicked through more files. Some were just cityscapes, but others showed strange thingsmen passing packages, furtive glances, a hand slipping a wad of cash into a pocket. Then he found the text files. They were just strings of letters and numbers, gibberish at first glance. But James knew enough to recognize a code when he saw one. He sat back, heart pounding. What had he stumbled onto? That night, James couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the footage in his mind, the men in the alley, the coded messages, the pigeon with its secret cargo. He tried to tell himself it was nothing, maybe an art project, maybe some kind of urban scavenger hunt. But deep down, he knew better. The next morning, he took the SD card to his friend Carla, a tech whiz who worked at a computer repair shop. He told her he'd found it on the street. She raised an eyebrow but didn't ask questions. She plugged it into her rig and started running programs. "These text files are encrypted," she said, frowning at the screen. "But not military grade. I can try to crack them." James nodded, trying to look casual. Carla worked in silence for a while, fingers flying over the keyboard. Finally, she sat back. "Got something." She opened a window. The code had resolved into a string of addresses and dates. There were also phrases, package drop, surveillance, meet at dawn. Carla looked at James. "What is this?" He shook his head. "I'm not sure." But he was starting to have an idea. James spent the next few days digging. He visited the addresses from the decrypted files. Most were ordinary places, coffee shop, a parking garage, a rooftop garden, but at each spot he noticed little things. A sticker with a pigeon on a lamppost, a chalk mark on a wall, a feather tucked behind a sign. He started asking questions. At the Birdwatchers Club in the park, he met a man named Peter who kept racing pigeons. "Ever see a pigeon with something strapped to its back?" James asked, trying to sound casual. Peter grinned. "You'd be surprised. People use them for all sorts of things. Messages, photos, even tiny cameras. Old-school spy stuff." James laughed, but his mind was spinning. He visited a tech forum, posted screenshots of the footage. Someone messaged him back, "Looks like drone work, but the movement is too organic. Maybe a bird cam?" James felt a chill. He was getting closer. One evening, as the sun dipped low, James sat on his balcony, watching the city. He felt small, like he was standing on the edge of something vast and hidden. His phone buzzed. It was Carla. "Check your email," she said. "I found more in the code." James opened his laptop. Carla had sent a new file. Inside were more decoded messages this time, with names. Not full names, just initials. JT, ML, SP. There were also instructions. Document the exchange on 4th and Main. Avoid detection. Use Carrier 7. James's hands shook. This wasn't a game. Someone was using pigeons to move information around the city, real information about real crimes. He wondered who they were and why. The next day, James went back to the park. He sat on the same bench where he'd found the pigeon. He watched the birds, trying to spot another with a pouch or a tag. He waited for hours. Nothing. As he was about to leave, a woman sat down beside him. She was middle-aged, with sharp eyes and a calm smile. "Nice day," she said. James nodded. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. She slid it across the bench. "For your curiosity," she said quietly. James stared at the envelope. He looked up, but the woman was already walking away, blending into the crowd. Inside the envelope was a note. "You found what you weren't meant to find, but maybe you were meant to see. The city has eyes everywhere. Sometimes those eyes have wings. Don't look for us. Just look around you, and remember truth finds a way." There was no signature. James felt a strange mix of fear and awe. He looked up at the sky, searching for a flash of wings. He started piecing together what he'd learned. The activists, whoever they were using pigeons to document illegal activities. They filmed from the air, captured evidence, and sent it back and forth using the birds as messengers. The coded messages were instructions where to film, when to meet, how to avoid getting caught. James realized how clever it was. In a world full of surveillance cameras, drones, and digital footprints, who would suspect a pigeon? He wrote everything down. He started a blog, careful not to reveal too much. He changed names, blurred details. But the core of the story was their secret network fighting back against corruption, using pigeons as their eyes and ears. The blog caught fire. People were fascinated. Reporters called, asking for interviews. James kept his answers vague. He didn't want to put anyone in danger. The story spread. Soon, the city was buzzing with rumors. People watched the skies, looking for pigeons with tiny pouches. The activists became legends, modern-day vigilantes, fighting for justice in the shadows. One day, James got an email from an anonymous address. The subject line was, "Thank you." The message was short. "You helped us more than you know. The truth matters. Keep watching." Attached was a Fatoa pigeon, wings spread wide, soaring above the city. In the background, the skyline glowed in the golden light of dusk. James smiled. He felt a strange sense of peace. He never found out who the activists were. He never saw the woman from the park again, but he knew, deep down, that the city was a little safer because of them and because of him. Sometimes, when the sun was setting and the sky was streaked with orange and purple, James would walk through the park and watch the pigeons. He wondered where they were going, what secrets they carried. He realized that the world was full of hidden stories, quiet acts of courage, small rebellions, hope that flew on silent wings. James had stumbled into a mystery, and though he never solved it completely, he learned something important. Sometimes the truth doesn't need a name. Sometimes it just needs someone to see it. And sometimes it takes a pigeon to remind you that even the smallest messenger can carry the biggest secrets.